This is Good Morning Uganda.
All right, it is Thursday and we are ready to serve you. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, together with Jerome Paul Sonko and Chirabo Robert Nyonyintano. I hope you're having a beautiful morning, and also I do believe that the music we played for you as we're starting the show took you back to good times. There was some Jennifer Lopez there, and there was the Spice Girls and so much more. But now we come back into the news, looking at what has made news this week, but also yesterday. Now, I'm curious to know what has stood out from yesterday, the last 24 hours, for the gentlemen that I work with here on Good Morning Uganda. Now, I will start with Jerome Paul Sonko. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, Olive. Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer who's watching us this Thursday.
Yes.
Well, speaking of things that have made news for me on my site, today is a Thursday, and it brings back those throwback memories. One of the stories that I've been looking at as of yesterday from the Daily Monitor is that some parents in Kayunga who have their daughters at the Kayunga Girls Primary School want their head teacher suspended, because reports coming in from there have revealed that the head teacher apparently chases away these girls from school because of failure to pay school fees or some bit of the school fees. Now, the parents are not happy because this school is government aided, so they wonder why would the head teacher be sending their children away from school, yet the government does the facilitation. And well, of course, you know how most of these government schools are run. At times they end up asking for some extra fees to continue running the school administration, you know, the school stuff like that, because at times money delays to come, and most of these schools don't get enough money, and some schools normally have some development fees here and there. However, parents feel that it's quite unfair because the government said we are offering you free education, and then our pupils are being sent back home, or our daughters are being sent back home, and they want this head teacher suspended because they feel their daughters are becoming their daughters are being mistreated according to the schools, and being deprived of education.
And probably the parents are onto some money, Jerome, because the president has over time said that students or pupils in government-aided schools should not be, first of all, forced to pay any money, and also they should not be sent home over school dues. So that's really sad. But you did say that it brings back some
it brings back memories of you know, of my time back in school. I remember those days in boarding where you were where the school buser would come, especially after visitation day, after the parents have been, you know, it normally happened on Mondays, or when we are just left with 2 weeks to exams. The school buser comes, or the director of studies, and then they start reading names of school fees defaulters. Then you know you're getting back home. So once I read this report, I remember those days where at times we were very happy and excited because, you know, at times school would be very frustrating. You don't have pocket change on you.
So you're
and then
excited
you're so
to go
excited
home
to go
and
back home.
have some rice.
Yeah, eat some rice, eat some good meals, and maybe also get to see your parents.
Yeah.
But again, on the bad side of everything was whenever you went back home and you wanted to, to have this kind of moment, and once you reached home and there was no money, then the reality would hit you and you're like, okay, now this is how the real world looks like.
Exactly.
You would go back home and your mother doesn't have the money, neither does your dad. And then someone who expected to be home for maybe 1 to 3 days and go back and just your friends, you realize you're going to be at home for about a week or two. And when you return to school, you're likely to return with your mom or father
to explain.
And in most cases, once you're returning with your mom, you would definitely know either you are going to pay just a few, just a percentage, and your mother is going to close herself in the office with the bursar,
and
start
then when
explaining.
You came with your dad?
And so when you came with your dad, the chances were high that maybe the entire school fee is going to be completed.
Hey, so that's
but
the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference. Because many fathers have been tactful back in the. I don't know how they do it these days. Anyway.
Robert is laughing. I would like to hear
when it comes to clearing school fees, if the father does not have the money, he leaves the mother to go and explain.
You
if
see,
the father has
you
the money,
gentlemen leave us to do the heavy lifting.
If the father has the money, you will see him doing the entire thing himself.
He's showing up
in
like
most cases, he won't even show up. He'll just drive you to the bank, drive you to school.
So basically, the fathers normally show up like the emperor, the champion is here because he has completed the fees. But then the moms come in to save the day in the event that the fees is not paid. Well, I share your sentiments. And like you, my mom would say, go back and tell them this. And then you go, and then the director ignores you, and then they send you back. I hated it. I actually
One thing I knew is that if you happen to go to school with your mother, whether you didn't have the requirements, the necessary requirements, the chances were high you were going to be in school.
Well,
but if you went with your father and they told him he doesn't have these requirements, he's going to drive you back home, and you first wait until he gets the money to clear everything.
Oh, Robert. I would like to know how your throwback memories regarding that same topic. But first of all, good morning.
What a Thursday. How are you, Olive?
I am well, thank you.
Are you good?
I am very good.
Did you have breakfast?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's too early for breakfast.
It's too early.
Yeah.
Did you sleep well?
I did.
Good dreams?
Robert, what are we driving at?
My mind was actually
Can
thinking.
we not into the week?
My mind was
The
actually
day.
thinking he's going to say, since you didn't have breakfast, he's offering it.
You
But
know?
I haven't had anything like that.
I see you on set. First, stay out of this conversation for a moment. It's me and Olive driving.
Okay, let's get to
But-
it, Robert.
Now, while Joram was speaking about these tough times, I call them tough times. Now, because the student is going through them, but equally the parent. And one thing that I hate most about that was the concerned community but was doing nothing. I don't know if all of you also noticed where everyone asks, why are you home? You've returned, you've been chased, and it seems everyone is concerned. Hey, almost everybody you're meeting. Why are you home? Why are you home? So it also had an element of stigmatization. That stigma, you're going home, everyone is going to ask. Even someone who has not taken their children to school has the audacity to ask, oh, Bubu, are you sick? Are you this? Now also, the other thing was when you went back to school, you had to get the notes you didn't get because you're away from school. And for me, that was the most hurting bit of it, that when you go back to school, but I wasn't so much a school defaulter. I just had those health issues. But I would see the pain of the children, most so when you go to A level. Primary, sometimes they laugh, they don't understand, but as you go to approach senior 4, A level, you feel that pain that I'm going away, I'm going to miss some days not in class, and when I come back, I have a lot of notes to catch up with, and I've missed a lot. And the bad thing is, even when the child is back, the teachers won't bother to ensure you catch up, because at the end of that, they've been home for a week, still I'm going to pay this school fees.
Now, Robert, your views regarding the school in Kayunga, where the parents are urging for the suspension of the head teacher who is charging pupils school fees and sending them home. What would you say about that?
First, there is something that government and Ministry of Education and Sports must come clean and clear on it. Should government-funded schools charge even a penny or not? That is something must be clear, because if this man has been agreed upon, Oliver and Sonko, by the parents committee, school parents committee, and we've accepted that each child will pay 20,000 to cater for porridge, to cater for whatever they're eating, maybe even some other things we've agreed as parents, why don't you live to your commitment? Because at the end of the day, Olive, if we make it optional, you know Ugandans, who is going to pay? We make it optional.
So in your perspective, it is
if it is agreed upon, it is fair enough
for the pupils to be sent home.
For the pupils to be sent home, the parents to ensure, because the way they left it, I usually hear His Excellency speak about it, that if some are able to pay and others are not able to pay, now I pay my 25, we collect in a pool, yours is not paying the... No, I don't think it works.
Well, Robert, take us through the local news. What do we have today?
Well, today I want to begin with the 4-acre model. It is agriculture. Now, the gospel of the 4-acre model farming is well embraced in Bunyoro sub-region, with the Minister of State for Transport, Fred Byamukama, taking the lead. Byamukama, who has ventured into poultry, dairy and piggery farming, said this is the way to go in fighting poverty. He shared this while in Kakumido district, where the president is expected tomorrow to launch the 4-acre model in Greater Kibale district. State Minister for Higher Education John Christum Muyingo said government is set to draft a law that will help in promoting inclusive education in the country. While officiating at the first ever East African Symposium on Disability Inclusion, Minister Muyingo noted that measures are being put in place to increase enrollment of persons with disability students under government sponsorship. The Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Francis Mwebesa, has called on investors to prioritize value addition in their products to improve access to global markets and increase exports. Speaking at the EU-Uganda trade mission held at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala, Mwebesa emphasized the importance of strengthening Uganda Chamber of Commerce to unlock new avenues for economic growth. And finally, the International Organization for Immigration has made a substantial donation of essential health supplies, IT equipment and furniture to the Ministry of Health to further its efforts in responding to the ongoing Mpox situation, with a special focus on ports of entry. At the official handover ceremony, IOM's Chief of Mission, Sergeant Tajan Savage, stressed the importance of fortifying entry points, especially to support migrants and vulnerable travelers.
Well, now we cross over into international news, where Trump is said to have full control of government, but he won't always have his way. On election night, Donald Trump repeated the phrase, and I quote, "promises made, promises kept," end quote. Now, Republicans have officially taken control of Congress, and his promises are a whole lot easier to keep. In Washington, political parlance, it's called a governing trifecta, where the president's party also controls both chambers of Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. That control is what Donald Trump's Republican Party now has. Single-party control was once common, but in recent decades it has become rarer and shorter. Often, the party in power loses seats when midterm congressional elections roll around 2 years later. Both Trump and Joe Biden enjoyed trifectas for their first 2 years in the White House, but they also saw that having such control is no guarantee a president can get their way. Well, elsewhere, at least 28 people were killed on Tuesday in Israeli airstrikes on 2 houses in central Lebanon, where displaced families were reported living, and the Lebanese Health Ministry says 20 people, mostly women and children, were killed in Jawoun and 8 others were killed near Balk May. Both villages are in the Mount Lebanon region and outside areas where the armed group Hezbollah has a strong presence. The Israeli military said it struck Hezbollah terror facilities. Earlier, it hit what it said were a number of Hezbollah targets in Beirut's southern suburbs. Meanwhile, 2 people were killed by Hezbollah rocket fire in the northern Israeli town of Nahariya. It came a day after Israel's defense minister ruled out a ceasefire with Hezbollah until its war goals were met. It came a day the Israeli military went on the offensive against Hezbollah, which it prescribes as a terrorist organization, after almost a year of cross-border fighting sparked by the war in Gaza. Now coming back to Africa, amid escalating regional tensions, voters in the self-declared state of Somaliland will vote on Wednesday in its 4th general election since its 1991 break from Somalia. While Somaliland now has its own government, parliament, currency, passports and other features of an independent country, however, its sovereignty remains unrecognized internationally as Somalia continues to view it as part of its territory. In the capital city of Hargeisa, supporters of the ruling Kulmie Peace, Unity and Development Party crowded the streets in green and yellow colored shirts, chanting victory songs, with women ululating as the campaigning ended last week. Incumbent President Muse Bihi Abdi is seeking a renewed 5-year mandate in the election, delayed by 2 years because of time and financial constraints, according to authorities. His main challenger is former Parliament Speaker and opposition candidate Abdurrahman Iro Mohamed Abdullahi of the Somaliland National Party, also known as the Wadani Party, which has promised more roles for women and young people in his government. Well, I guess the best way for leaders to win elections in Africa today is to promise leadership positions for young people in their governments. And I'm here for it in case they can deliver. But let's look at what Jerome Paul. What, Jerome?
No, it's a surprising one there.
Yeah.
but of course, I've come to realize that many governments have realized that the young people are many. And they have to involve them in the politics.
Yes.
If they are to even get the votes as well, because now they are the majority.
True.
In every country.
Yeah. Well, what do you have for us in the press review?
Well, according to the new vision, is that the government has launched an app that is going to be monitoring doctors, and this tool is set to affect all doctors in public facilities. Also, in Chisoro, Museveni pays tribute as voters pick woman member of parliament today. You will get the report and the preparations as well. Then Huawei to train Ugandans in artificial intelligence. There is a report of that. The Prime Minister is at the front page of the new vision with some of the Ugandans, as well as the Ugandan trainees that will be traveling to China for specialized training in artificial intelligence, 5G, digital power, cloud computing and ICT. Now, these particular ones had been selected by the Huawei Technologies based on their academic excellence and commitment to technological advancement, and they will be participating in the prestigious 2024 Huawei Leap Digital Talent Training Program in Shenzhen in China. Now, also with the new vision, Canterbury Kazimba speaks out over church scandal. Then police arrest one over kidnap. A joint security team yesterday afternoon rescued Muhammad Ali, a 40-year-old Egyptian diplomat, from kidnappers in Buloba, Wakiso district. And also the HIV death rate worries experts. The number of people dying from HIV-related complications over the last 3 years has not been going down, according to details today. Then in matters transport, UPDF cattle traders row over ferry. You can find details of that in the New Vision. Then elsewhere, we look into the Daily Monitor. How will the next leader of the Church of England be picked? You can find the news and more of that report in the Daily Monitor. Now, DM today matters motoring, vintage cars, much more than transportation. Now, the bigger headline on the Daily Monitor's front page is My Body, My Choice. In between the line, reproductive health, public health specialists are pushing for women to have the independence to use contraceptives without interference from the husband or family, saying this will address maternal death and the country's high fertility rate. Now, there's a breakdown, 15 to 49, the prevalence of modern contraceptive use among women aged 15 to 49 now is 38%. And then government is racing to increase the prevalence of modern contraceptive use to 39.6% by 2025. That is down from the 38% where it is now. Now, 44% of married women who are non-users of contraception and made the decision against using family planning jointly with their husbands stands at 44%. And of course, this is a discussion that is continuing, and the public health specialists feel it should now be open for discussion. Now, also news, listen to youth or risk revolts, Rugunda warns. The former Prime Minister, Ruakana Rugunda, has warned that unless African leaders listen to their youth, they risk creating clashes and revolts. Then special report, the business opportunities in the towns next to you. Cities, municipalities, towns, and even villages across Uganda have immense business opportunities, but how can you tap into them? Find more details in the Daily Monitor. Now, the by-election, moment of truth as Chisoro district goes to the polls today. Find out more of that report in today's Daily Monitor. Now, off to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Why US envoy resigned? Goodbye. The exiting ambassador proud of her achievements, touching on health, security, trade, and sorting out visa issues. Now, Silicon Valley billionaire Meg Whitman yesterday announced her resignation as the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, ending her 2-year stint in the country in a tenure during which she pleased and annoyed in equal measure. Her critics, who accuse her of cozying up to Ruto's Kenya Kwanza administration, have welcomed the move, as well as the Donald Trump ascendancy back to the White House. Now, ignored red flags and what you can see from the Social Health Insurance Fund. There is more of that in the Daily Nation. Now, bungled cases against Devani and Maina Njega among 1,000 dropped by the DPP. There's also a fresh round of performance contracts for Ruto ministers and the permanent secretaries. Then KCSE exams come, how detectives trailed and seized key property. That is with the Daily Nation. Now, lastly, with the Citizen newspaper in Tanzania, government is promised to envoys on stability investment reforms. Tanzania yesterday sought to reassure foreign diplomats of political stability ahead of elections, a just taxation system and conducive investment environment, saying President Samia Suluhu Hassan's government is working to further improve this situation. Now, questions swirl as police investigate kidnap attempt. Then national news, the East African crude oil pipeline project, laying of Uganda-Tanzania oil pipeline is at 47% in regards to the completion. Then Tanzania now Uganda's top source of imports in Africa. According to a new report, Tanzania has overtaken Kenya as Uganda's leading source of imports in Africa, with the development being attributed to a number of factors, which factors have been highlighted by the Citizen today. Now, reprieve for disqualified poll candidates. That report is also in today's Citizen in Tanzania. And well, that does it for our press review this morning.
Now, we will be having a conversation as we celebrate and commemorate the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities. That's the conversation that is coming up next in our newsreel. But for now, we still take you back to music that meant something, leave alone the music today where the lyrics don't mean so much, at least in my perspective. And this one is a hit from the past, and it's coming in from Milli Vanilli. Girl, I'm gonna miss you.
Live
The best way for leaders to win elections in Africa today is to promise leadership positions for young people in their governments. And I'm here for it in case they can deliver. But let's look at what Jerome Paul. What, Jerome?
No, it's a surprising one there.
Yeah.
but of course, I've come to realize that many governments have realized that the young people are many, and they have to involve them in the politics.
Yes.
If they are to even get the votes as well, because now they are the majority.
True.
In every country.
Yeah. Well, what do you have for us in the press review?
Well, according to the new vision, is that the government has launched an app that is going to be monitoring doctors, and this tool is set to affect all doctors in public facilities. Also, in Chisoro, Museveni pays tribute as voters pick woman member of parliament today. You will get the report and the preparations as well. Then Huawei to train Ugandans in artificial intelligence. There is a report of that. The Prime Minister is at the front page of the new vision with some of the Ugandans, as well as the Ugandan trainees that will be traveling to China for specialized training in artificial intelligence, 5G, digital power, cloud computing and ICT. Now these particular ones had been selected by the Huawei Technologies based on their academic excellence and commitment to technological advancement, and they will be participating in the prestigious 2024 Huawei Leap Digital Talent Training Program in Shenzhen in China. Now also with the new vision, Canterbury, Kazimba speaks out over church scandal. Then police arrest one over kidnap. A joint security team yesterday afternoon rescued Muhammad Ali, a 40-year-old Egyptian diplomat, from kidnappers in Buloba, Wakiso district. And also the HIV death rate
Your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, today we are delving into the conversation regarding the celebration of the International Day of Persons Living with Disabilities. You may not know, but we have quite many different disabilities in the country, or people living with disabilities. In most cases, when you hear persons living with disabilities, what comes to your mind is probably someone who is maybe deaf, someone who could be blind, or someone who is lame. But from my understanding and from some research, it shows that we have different people living with disabilities. So what are these clusters and what are some of the challenges that they face? And why is this day very important to us? What should we know about it? And how can we be of help and how can we be of help really to the people that are living with disabilities? You know, the thing about disability, today you could be fine and tomorrow you might be living with a disability. I'll give you an example. With all the accidents that happen in the country, today you have all your limbs, tomorrow you may not have them. Oh, I know people, personally I have a friend who is deaf and she was actually of hearing. She used to hear and then one day she got sick, she was given medicine that ended up affecting her hearing. So now she is a person living with a disability. That's why I believe that we should not steer clear of conversations of this nature. And also we shouldn't look the other way when days like this come forth, because there is a lot for us to learn and there is a lot for us to unpack regarding that. So to delve into this conversation with me is Prosper Muhumuza, who is the Commissioner Disability Affairs at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you, and good morning viewers, good morning our listeners of UBC.
Yes. Now, Mr. Muhumuza, as we get into this conversation, I would like for us, first of all, to start from the beginning. And for me, I would like for you to share the latest global and maybe Ugandan statistics on the population of persons with disabilities and how this impacts the policy and planning for the country.
Thank you. First of all, let's first dive deep into what disability is.
Okay.
Disability is simply understood as a substantial functional limitation.
Yes.
Substantial functional limitation. It's caused by some impairments on the body parts, but more so by the environment in which we live in. So this substantial functional limitation ends up causing or leading or making us having some disabilities. We can't do some things because of this substantial impairment, but more so because the environment we live in is not enabling, is not providing the adjustments that we require to perform our day-to-day duties. Globally, we're talking about between 1.3 to 1.5 billion people with disabilities. At country level, we are talking about 12.4, and this is 6 million Ugandans with disabilities. And as you rightly put it, we have about 8 categories of disabilities. There are some other categories that are coming up to be recognized, but currently we recognize 8. And when we talk about 8, we are talking about the physical disability or its physical category. We are talking about the sense of seeing, or what we call visual impairment. We are talking about the sense of hearing, which is the hearing impairment. We are talking about the mental disability. We are talking about albinism, where we have the black lemon is off, and therefore you see someone with only one color. And we are talking about persons with short stature. Short stature, they are below a certain height, and sometimes we call them little persons, but the right word is persons with short stature. We have multiple. You can have a combination of these.
Mad people?
Multiple disabilities.
Okay.
So you have more than one. We also have deaf-blind. Deaf-blind, we recognize it separately because it, in a way, we just wanted to re-emphasize it. So you have someone who may not see, is not hearing, and in most cases, the speech is also not there. So, of course, those are some of the major ones that we recognize. We see people with epilepsy coming up. We see people with sickle cells coming up. In some other countries, they are recognized. Mental health, we are trying also to unpack it. It has psychosocial difficulties or disabilities and developmental disabilities, and it's a whole different branch. So in the future, we may have to unpack it such that the interventions for the different subcomponents are well aligned.
And would that include, let's say, persons that are living with Down syndrome, autism, and the like? So
we have persons with autism, persons with hydrocephalus,
yes.
We have persons with spina bifida, we have persons with cerebral palsy, we have dyslexia, and many. So these broad categories, in one way or the other, get hold of these categories. But increasingly, these conditions are becoming really, the speed at which they are going up is high. And the different parents of these children with Down syndrome, with cerebral palsy, with spina bifida, with hydrocephalus, with autism, are pushing to be recognized separately. But when you look at autism or Down syndrome, they are sort of sensory kinds of disabilities. When you look at Down syndrome, you can categorize in the major subcategories I talked about. When you look at spina bifida, it can go into the physical, but also most of them tend to go to multiple because they can be sensory, then at the same time they affect the physical movement, they affect speech, and therefore when we speak to most of our pediatricians and most of our neurosurgeons, we are looking at them as multiple difficulties, as multiple categories of disability.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you can join the conversation, and if you have any questions for Mr. Mhomoza here, you can reach us through WhatsApp number 0709-602-592. You can also call directly. Please do not call through WhatsApp. Just call directly. Still, the number is 0709-602-592, and we will be able to get your view. And also, if in case of any questions, Mr. Mhomoza here from the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development will be in position to answer any of your questions. Now, Mr. Mhomoza, there has always been a conversation regarding access to different facilities by persons living with disabilities, let's say the physical. And from your perspective, according to recent reports, what percentage of public facilities in Uganda can be accessible to persons with disabilities?
Thank you. One, I want to demystify the word accessibility. We traditionally and keep looking at accessibility only in the physical terms.
Okay.
When we talk disability, when the persons with disabilities, the message they want all of us to understand is accessibility is in different perspectives. So accessibility for the physical is making sure that the buildings have escalators, the buildings have ramps, and many others. And we have many institutions trying in this area. But accessibility for the person with visual impairment, it's beyond the physical environment. It's also looking at Braille, that the talking notes you have here are in Braille, and when I come, I can access the information that is there, that is being processed by UBC. If I have a hearing impairment, I want sign language to be on board. And actually, I was supposed to come with my sign language interpreter, because I'm not supposed to be on this show when we don't have a sign language interpreter.
And yet we are talking about
the deaf
persons.
community, exactly.
Yes.
The deaf community outside there is expecting to get this information live and on spot without going through the third party. And I think I assumed with my programmer that there would be an arrangement, again, reasonable accommodation for me, speak, but also not leave out another category of persons with disabilities. So accessibility can move on and on. The people under the Marrakesh Treaty, the persons with visual impairment are supposed to be allowed by all countries across the world to publish different documents by different authors without any limitation, without these issues of property rights, because they have the right to change the different publications. So that's also accessibility. Physical accessibility, it's a challenge in this country. We are working with Uganda Construction and Building Board, especially starting with KCC and many other cities, where we have structures beyond the 4, 3, or whatever number of levels. To make matters worse, even education institutions that don't have ramps, hospitals. Most hospitals have tried, but not all of them.
Not all of them.
So in percentage terms, we are talking about, the last report I saw, about 67% are accessible, and the whole 33% are not accessible.
Are these in mainly rural and hard-to-reach areas?
No, in urban areas.
In urban areas.
Because in rural areas, it's rare even find these tall buildings. So when you are talking about in percentage terms, the biggest, the majority of this infrastructure is in urban areas.
Okay. Now, Mr. Mhomaza, how far are we as a country from full accessibility?
Full accessibility, we are coming and we are near. And it's me and you and the management of UBC, if we choose to change, if we choose to shout and sing and communicate the importance of accessibility, I'm sure it's a matter of time that we get there. We are going to start a campaign next year of what we call Disability Inclusion Annual Awards. The media houses will have an award, the hotels will have an award category, the banking sector will have an award category, the universities will have an award category, hospitals. It's a 5-year initiative. It may lead to a bit of shame for some institutions which remain a bit adamant. This is sort of a parallel approach over and above what the local authorities like KCCA and many other local governments are supposed to enforce. The physical accessibility really, it's not something complicated. It's within our structural and architectural practices, legal. No building is supposed to be built without the basics, the toilets for persons with disabilities or washrooms, the escalators, these are basics in construction. They are not posing any extra cost. They are not posing any extra requirements. They are part of the basic architecture designs. And therefore, enforcement shouldn't be complicated at all. It's a matter of a town clerk somewhere in the city or municipality or town council to work with the engineering department, the health department, and the physical planner, and we get going. So it can take us 6 months or so if all of us, the duty bearers, did what we're supposed to do.
Indeed, if all of us, the duty bearers, and duty bearers is not an organization or government, it is you, myself, Mr. Mhumuza here, all of us combined, we can cause change so that we make life easier for the persons living with disabilities. But now, Mr. Mhumuza, I want us to look into something else to do with education. Yes. We have, in the percentages that you shared of the current population of Ugandans living with disabilities, among these are many children. And one wonders what percentage of these actually have access to education? Great.
Access to education is really, the indicators are not, we are not doing well. 9% of our children with disabilities don't access, sorry, only 9 access. So 91, they are not accessing, 91%. And I'm back to accessibility. It's due to physical factors, lack of teachers, special needs education teachers, because the parents look at the school environment, the child doesn't hear, and it's like, okay, these other children, these other learners, and the school administration, they're going to laugh at my daughter, they're going to laugh at my boy, because there is no one trained on how to deal with a child with visual impairment. There's no braille books or textbooks in this school. Same with those with hearing impairment. And it gets worse for those who can't hear, who can't speak, and who can't see, who need what we call tactile technology to be in this school environment. We as government have many special schools across the country at primary and secondary level. There are some regions, especially north and western Uganda, who don't have schools or secondary schools for the deaf. But in the other regions, government has really tried to put these schools across. It's not because the schools are not there, so we have both challenges of demand and supply. The supply part is that the parents, or some of the parents, they still feel these children can't cope. So there is overprotection of children.
By the parents.
By the parents, by the community, thinking, no, this child has nothing to do with the school. This child with Down syndrome, this child with hydrocephalus, this child with spina bifida, this child with cerebral palsy, this child with autism is naughty, is beating me all the time at home. How can he or she cope at school? And we are telling parents, no. Government has invested in a lot of money in teachers to learn special needs education. Special needs education is where a teacher is well grounded per category of disability, per category of the learner, on how best to do an assessment, to do an intervention based on each of these children. So we have pedagogy whereby we learn, we pick how each child is supposed to be dealt with. We don't have very many teachers, and again, as government, as duty bearers, as Chambogo University and many other universities, we need to have as many teachers as possible, and also adaptive technology. Adaptive technology is where we bring in more technologies that can help, especially those with low vision, those who we call hard of hearing. I didn't break down the different subcategories.
Hard of hearing.
Exactly. So we have the deaf community. They don't hear. Then we have someone who has difficulty in hearing. Doesn't hear, but hears something. So those ones also need a certain approach as you are teaching, as opposed to maybe complete sign language. The visual, we have low vision, then we have those who have lost sight. So low vision may need the print, the font you are using there may need a certain big font to sort of, or get a magnifier to see. But there's someone who has lost sight. So all of these, the teachers are grounded on how to to engage them, on how to support them in education. So I talked about the demand, the supply part where the parents are supposed to send children to the schools. And then the demand part where I talked about some schools being there to support, the teachers being there, but not in every school across the country. And allow me dive deep into the theme for this year, for International Day of Persons with Disabilities. Everyone on 3rd December, let's go to Kumi. Let's go and do some artiso, let's dance in Kumi as we commemorate this Day of Persons with Disabilities. But what is the theme and how is education connected to the theme? The theme is improving household incomes as a way of feeding into the well-being of a person with disability. So the household income, to what extent does the improvement of household income lead us to improve the welfare of a person with disability? And education plays a key role. Skilling plays a key role in improving household income. And for the last couple of years, the country has been saying, no, we want household income to be up there. Programs are being initiated, parish development model, M-Yoga, a special grant for persons with disabilities. Skilling programs have been introduced. And want to go to Kumi, want to listen to persons with disabilities, whether they're being left behind or not. And we are saying nothing for us without us. Want to see whether they are at the decision-making tables, deciding on parish model, deciding on the disability grant, deciding on the MYOGA, and many other initiatives that are in our respective local governments. Each local government can commemorate locally using local resources, but they can also send teams to the national event in Kumi, Boma Grounds on 3rd December. It will be a Tuesday. And the leadership of UBC, we shall be glad. And I know you're always there, especially the journalists, but we look forward to the top-notch team to go and listen in and say, oh, what contribution can UBC do in as far as improving the household income of a person with disability is? You may do it directly, you may do it indirectly. If you do accessibility for them, you are doing it indirectly.
Wow, well, a lot has been unpacked, and I know that there is so much more that is supposed to come in this conversation, and Mr. Mhumuza has tried his level best to help us understand the persons with disabilities, the different clusters, but also some of the challenges that they are facing. For instance, I have just learned today that people living with albinism are clustered as persons living with disabilities. And now when you think about it and their challenge, they do not have the same melanin that we have. This dark skin we have is melanin, so they don't have it, so they're affected by things like sunlight. Yes, so because of that, there are persons living with disabilities, because what is normal to us, like dust and everything, is actually things that affect them and impact their lives negatively. You can send comments through regarding this topic of discussion, and also questions, if any, to Mr. Mhumuza here. The number is on your screen, but I will repeat it for you. It is WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. We also have our phone lines open for calls. Call directly through the same number 0709 602 592. Be a part of the conversation. Mr. Mhumuza, I have some comments coming through. The first one is from Wambale Enos from Kasanda Town. He says, Happy International Day for people living with disability. We really love you people and promise to support you. I suggest our government provides all enabling environments for people living with disability at free of charge or at a fee or low cost, because most of these people are unable to afford this on their own. Success to all who sat for end of year exams. Special success to Kamala Edgar Citizen Secondary School Kasese, Mumbere Emma Asimwa of Kamaiba Primary School Kasese. I believe they have gotten your greetings. Now, when it comes
speak to that.
Yes.
Yes, great. Thank you, Kasada. The two things, education and accessibility. Education, ladies and gentlemen who are viewing us, the learners with disabilities who have been doing exams, who have finished primary 7, some have finished senior 4, and now we are in A-level. The parents, teachers associations, the school boards, all learners doing exams must have extra 30 minutes by law as part of the affirmative action, as part of saying we recognize the difficulties, the functional limitation, a permanent functional limitation. We recognize the limitation, therefore they require to have extra 30 minutes during the examinations. And if there is something that the sign language interpreter didn't do well, we can actually even push for more minutes because we are equalizing opportunities. But when he talked about paying or subsidizing accessibility, it reminded me of our legal framework. Uganda is a signatory to the UN, the United Nations Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. And Article 27 talks about work and employment. We need to promote work and employment. It talks about education, we talk about health, free access, not paid for, free access. Our Constitution, Article 35, please read. Our Constitution as amended 1995, Article 35, obliges government to promote affirmative action for persons with disability. And we are promoting it around
that's the question I was coming with,
yes,
that are you promoting
yes,
affirmative action as government?
Exactly. And when we go to education, we have scholarships targeting learners with disabilities.
Do they know how to access these scholarships, where to go for help? Because it's one thing to have them, but sometimes the population doesn't have the information needed.
I can confirm by around 70% that they know, but I know there is a certain section that doesn't know. Yesterday, the Minister of State for Disability Affairs and myself were at Makerere University commemorating International Day of Persons with Disabilities in advance for that community, because they will be in exams come December and they can't join the entire country to commemorate in Kumi. And we got testimonies from these students with disabilities, how they got information about scholarships. The information is disseminated through the schools, the special needs schools. It's disseminated through all district education officers across the country. All secondary schools get circulars. Possibly what we could see that there were pockets of private schools which don't get this information, and a few others. So that's why I'm like, in terms of access to information, these scholarships around 70%. And we made commitments together with Makerere University and the entire Joint Admissions Board to ensure that this information is widely disseminated. The Ministry of Health has just approved a structure whereby when they are employing going forward, they're going to have sign language interpreters up to health center 3 level. So that if a person from the deaf community is coming to access health, there's no barrier to accessibility. Braille, the Constitution is brailled. We have very many documents now which are in Braille. And with technology, the people who don't have sight or have lost sight, at least accessibility, unless a document is in PDF, most of the other documents, when you use phones, when you use computers, they are now slightly accessible. And when we say Braille, for the duty bearers who are providing for accessibility, don't assume everyone reads Braille. Braille is also learned. So it's not that everyone who has lost sight will actually automatically read Braille.
Oh,
so
Mr.
Braille
Muhammad
is also taught, yes.
Okay, it is taught. Kindly share your last remarks as we've come to the end of our conversation.
My last remarks is a call upon all duty bearers. When we are employing as UBC, which percentage of our employees have disabilities. As a country, our quota, according to ILO, most of African countries, 5% of our employees are supposed to be persons with disabilities, and this helps indeed in household income, in boosting household income. I want to thank the over 60,000 persons with disabilities who have received the National Special Grant and who are putting it in the right use, the 2% who have received the Parish Development Model and they are putting it in proper use. Emyoga, we have seen many testimonies from persons with disabilities who are using it well. The parish chiefs who are discriminating persons with disabilities under the circles, we are saying, please, stand warned. A person with a disability is a human being like you. He can do business like you. He can pay back like you. Sometimes they pay back better than the rest of us.
Well, thank you so much. They can do it,
and together, if we support them, they can even do better.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Muhumuza, and it was great having you here. Maybe we could have a further conversation as the day comes closer. 3rd December in Kumi District, Boma Grounds, that's where the national event will be taking place. We will be commemorating the International Day for Persons Living with Disabilities. So if you have people with disabilities within your community, within your family, within your organization, this is their day, and it would be really important for you to be a part of the national events. But for now, we'll take a short break, and Irene Allen Namisango will be coming back with Good Morning Uganda Tourism Express. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Thank you.
Well, stick around.
Yeah.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you so much for watching. My name is Irene Allen Namisango, and this is the GMU Tourism Express, the time that we talk about all things and matters that concern Uganda's tourism. And we bring you all the inspiring tourism stories that would inspire you to probably join the tourism sector, to travel somewhere, or engage in any tourism event that is happening in Uganda. Well, today we are going to talk about the Rubirizi and Nature, Culture and Tourism Expo that is happening on the 23rd of November at Paul Hotel in Indeva. So expos are becoming a thing in Uganda. Almost all sectors are coming up with expos because they help to exhibit, to bring out what we really want to show our audiences. And now this Nature, Culture and Tourism Expo that is going to happen on the 23rd of November is going to exhibit the nature, the beauty, the cultures that are in Rubirizi district. Now with me in the studios, I'm with Mr. Marcel Katsime, the nature ambassador, a man who so much loves Rubirizi district and everything that dwells in here. He actually says that Rubirizi district is the pearl of Uganda, then Uganda becomes the pearl of Africa. It is interesting because personally, Rubirizi has so many beautiful things, just as we are going to hear. Some time back we had him here and he highlighted most of the hidden games that we actually didn't know that really existed in Rubirizi district. But today we are going to talk about this expo, and we could probably entice you and interest you to attend the expo so that you get to know and love your country more, so that you even love it more and be proud to be a Ugandan who originates from the pearl of Africa. Well, Mr. Marcel, good morning.
Very good morning, madam.
How are you?
I'm fine. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you again.
Yes.
Mr. Katsime, we need to understand on this expo, the Rubirizi Nature, Culture and Tourism Expo, what are you really going to exhibit?
Thank you very much. I'm Marcel, private lecturer, the lecturer who lectures a lecture of nature by nature, nature ambassador, nature adventurer. We are bringing that expo in Kampala here, Rubaga, on 23rd November at Popopo here, Rubaga and Eva. What are we exhibiting?
Yes.
One, we want to bring the tourism of Rubirizi to Kampala so that people can know it, we can promote our tourism. Now, we have at least 3 things how we are going to exhibit these things. Our tourism attraction. One, we have a documentary, part 1, that we are going to show, which proves that Rubirizi is the pearl of Uganda, and Uganda is the pearl of Africa. That brings out what we have that makes us so unique and special. This is 1. 2, we are going to show, we have unique people who are going to, they are called the motivational speakers. Key speakers who are going to talk about culture, how can be tapped and put into tourism. Nature of Rubirizi, how can be, transferred and put into tourism, and even tourism itself. So these people will be there. 3, we are going to bring to exhibit these things, some products from Rubirizi. We have fish from Great Lakes of Rubirizi. We are going to bring it and people get ready to eat, to experience the process of different types of fish on that day, to experience the fish. We are going to bring a coffee which is grown on volcanic soils of Rubirizi, part of Uganda, that has a unique aroma. I think it is the best coffee in the whole country because it is grown on volcanic soils. Then 3, we are bringing honey, which is a little bit dark and it's a little bit sour. It is more medicinal. And banana from Rubirizi. All those are unique in its way and unique identity. So we want to bring it to Kampala here at Popopo, so people can also taste and feel that natural aroma that these things have.
Mr. Katsime, what do you think is going to be the impact of this expo to Rubirizi district and Uganda as a whole?
Thank you very much. This impact is this expo, Nature, Culture and Tourism Expo of Rubirizi, part of Uganda. It is going to have a very big impact to Rubirizi and Uganda. How? First of all, this is the first expo which is unique, with unique features, with unique tourism attractions that have not been anywhere to be exposed in Uganda. So other people have been putting expos, but without bringing out what makes Uganda a unique place, why it is the part of Uganda. So it is going to bring an impact, or one, it is going to bring new tourism attractions on board and be exposed to the whole country.
True.
This is one. Two, the whole country will understand what they have not been knowing, the new tourism attractions, which could pull the audience of the tourism, of tourists from outside Uganda to Uganda. And even the local people from Rubirizi, they will also internalize the importance and the value of the tourism that we have in Rubirizi, and understand more that what private lecture is singing about is real. It's not just verbal. For example, like as you are seeing on the screen, they have been showing one of the biggest waterfalls that we have adventured recently. These waterfalls, I went there, we camped for 3 days. We discovered them that other people had not discovered. So we are calling people to come to Rubirizi to tour and adventure those things that we have.
Mr. Katsime, you said that the people of Rubirizi are also going to internalize the importance or the value of tourism in your district. The fact that you're bringing the expo to Kampala, we need to understand, why did you bring it to Kampala? Secondly, why didn't you consider Rubirizi? Because we would want to come there and see the beauty that is there. And how are you engaging the local people to benefit from this?
Thank you very much. One, I'm a musician. I've been delivering message through songs. This is one. Two, so that people can understand. Two, I started doing my own festivals about nature, culture, and tourism. So we are going to the 5th edition in Rubirizi. That festival is called Nature Tigicha Tourism Festival and Mpakazamato. We do it every 26th of December. We are going to the 5th edition. So for the people of Rubirizi, we do it every 26th of December. Then every 30th of August, it's where we went and discovered those waterfalls. So we have 2 events in Rubirizi that are doing miracles and wonders where we adventure. So for the people of Rubirizi, those who have been ignorant about not knowing what is going on, we invite them to come on those walking and events to participate. And we got very many, almost 900 people last time. So now this time we have people from Western region, from Northern, from Eastern, who have not been knowing about Rubirizi, and even outside Uganda. So we are bringing it to Kampala so that we can increase the awareness from the level of Rubirizi to the level of the national level, even to the continent of Africa, to the whole world, so that the tourism of Rubirizi can increase and we increase the number of tourists in Rubirizi.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, what is needed for someone to attend the expo?
What you need to attend the expo is the entrance is the 20 per person.
20,000.
20,000. This is the entrance that will let you see what you can't get anywhere. For the table, you pay 200,000. And on the table, there will be a cup of coffee and a table contains of 5 people. So they will share the fish that we shall have put as one family. We shall put we shall put very many fish, but they will share accordingly, just to feel the aroma of the fish and feel the freshness of the fish. That fish is called kasai sai in our. But even anybody who wants to kweta okoza okutera entoro kali obuyita ekiworo ky'obuyita with fish, then you can also book and you enjoy.
Mr. Katsime, unfortunately we are running out of time, but please give us the program. How is the program going to be?
We are going to start, we are going to be at the Popopo, Ndeba here. The program is going to start at exactly 3 p.m. We are going to start with what we call a natural prayer. Sheikh will come with the Quran and give some ayahs in the Quran that talks about how God is directing us and instructing us to conserve and preserve nature of Uganda and Rubirizi. A priest will come and use a Bible to demonstrate and show what God talks about conserving nature of Rubirizi, the part of Uganda, and Uganda, the part of Africa. So that's what we are going to start with. After that, we have performances. I'm going to perform. We have Rasta Charles is going to perform. We have Engineer Jovan, he's going to perform. We are going to perform different traditional cultural dance. Echinyaruguru, tukutigicha, tuikendeke, tuzine, and we feel the heritage of our culture and nature at Popopo. So I'm inviting all people from Rubirizi, from Western region, from Central, from North, the whole country, tour operators, guides who are in Kampala, media houses, to come and witness and even see the expo that has never happened in Uganda and in Kampala, that brings new tourism attractions with the things that we have adventured.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Katsime. I think just because of time, I'm going to have to cut you short, but I'm very sure that it is going to be an interesting event. We've had such events like Bachiga Nation, we've had Kadodi Festival, Uganda, they're also having the Royal Carnival. And then you see that these events bring in and showcase the heritage, the cultural heritage of different tribes, the diversity of cultures that we have in Uganda. So I strongly believe that it is going to be a beautiful event, and thank you so much for considering coming here to tell our audience about it.
I can't fail to thank UBC. I want to thank UBC in a special way because you have internalized unique things about Uganda, like hosting me here and I talk about things that we have adventured. So I call upon leaders also to participate in daily adventuring like what we are doing so that we can promote our tourism. Thank you very much, UBC. Long live UBC. Thank you for being a real neutral TV of the country. I love you so much. I remain Marcel, private lecturer, the lecturer who lectures a lecture of nature, the nature adventurer, the nature ambassador of Rubirizi, part of Uganda. Never torture the nature. If you torture the nature will torture the future. So let us nurture the nature for the future to rapture the gift of the nature. Natural respect.
Thank you so much for watching. That is it that we had for you in the GMU Tourism Express. But please, if you have time, find time to go and attend the expo, because it is going to expose you to the different diverse cultures that we have in the country. Remember, Uganda has more than 50 different cultures, and we need to learn all of these. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you tomorrow.
It is now business time. Good morning and thank you for watching Good Morning Uganda. I am Joram Paul Sonko. Now, in a bid to strengthen the trade ties and more of the investment ties between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates, the Sharjah Exports Development Center an initiative of the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry, organized the UAE East Africa Trade Mission, which is scheduled for the 13th to the 14th of November 2024. Now, the Minister of Trade, Ministry and Cooperatives, Francis Mwevesa, called on investors to prioritize value addition in their products in order to improve access to global markets and also increase exports. Now, speaking at the UAE Uganda Trade Mission held at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala yesterday, Mwevesa emphasized the importance of strengthening the Uganda Chamber of Commerce to unlock new avenues for economic growth. The primary objective of the trade mission is to identify potential areas of collaboration that could be mutually beneficial. The mission serves as a valuable platform to explore opportunities for partnership and address any questions or considerations that could strengthen working relationships. Yesterday, the 13th, the event kicked off, and it will be coming to an end or to a closure today. Now, of course, this could definitely boost trade ties and investment opportunities between Uganda and the United Arab Emirates. And please do note that over 500,000 Ugandans do work in the United Arab Emirates, and others have got the opportunity to as well have some businesses running in the UAE, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, all in the United Arab Emirates. Now, as what we look into matters African trade, because by the look of things, Tanzania has now overtaken Kenya as Uganda's source of imports, or now Tanzania exports more products to Uganda than Kenya. Now, Kenya, which has been traditionally Uganda's largest trading partner, but according to the recent data, East Africa's largest economy is now second after Tanzania in terms of Uganda's largest source of income from within Africa. Now, data from the Bank of Uganda indicates that during the year ended June 2024, Uganda imported goods worth $4.17 billion from COMESA and the rest of Africa combined, of which almost half was from Tanzania. Now, Uganda, according to data from the Uganda Revenue Authority, imports mostly gold, rolled iron or non-alloy steel, groundnuts and carboys, bottles and flasks from Tanzania. Now, the gold forms more than half of Uganda's imports from Tanzania, as the Uganda Revenue Authority data indicates that Uganda imported gold worth 1.08 trillion shillings in 2023. Now, data indicates that 42.56% of Uganda's imports from within Africa were in the year ended June 2024 sourced from Tanzania, compared to 19.55% from Kenya and 6.43% from South Africa. Now, Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso rounded off the list of the top 5 largest sources of Uganda's imports in Africa, contributing to a percentage value of 5.27% and 5% respectively. Now, the Bank of Uganda further indicates that during the year to June 2024, Uganda spent $1.77 billion on imports from Tanzania, which was more than triple the $450.46 million recorded in the year to June 2023. Now, Africa, when you look at Kenya, which has been the largest trading partner of Uganda, which for 4 years has been the leading source of imports. Or Kenya's been exporting quite a number of goods to the Ugandan market. Now, unfortunately, Tanzania takes pole position as of now. Now, Kenya, which for years has been Uganda's leading source of imports in Africa, is now in second position with a contribution of worth 816.71, which was slightly a reduction of $860.71 million recorded in the year that ended June 2023. Now, Kenya, followed by South Africa, with an import bill of $268.8 million, and third in regards to those countries where Uganda imports goods from. And then Cote d'Ivoire comes in fourth, and Burkina Faso coming in fifth. They registered tremendous increases, rising from $14.88 million to $220.33 million. That is for Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, and $50.17 million and to $208.88 million. That is for Burkina Faso. And that does it for business this morning. We turn our focus on the forex market to see how the shilling has been faring on the exchange. This is courtesy of the central bank. Opening time, the US dollar was buying at 3,666.23, while selling at 3,676.23. Midday, 3,665.77, while selling 3,675.77. The US dollar then closed buying at 3,665.55, while selling was 3,675.55. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,671.74, while selling 4,684.48. The euro was buying at 3,890.61, while selling at 3,901.22. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.41 shillings, while selling at 28.49 shillings. And the Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.37, while selling at 1.38. The South African rand then was buying at 202.60, while selling at 203.15. These are updated 3 times daily by the central bank, and these figures always change with time, depending on how currencies are faring on the exchange. Saturdays on UBC at 8:30 p.m. The Business Roundup will give you a wrap-up of the business stories that are topping up. For now, the business updates on Good Morning Uganda do come to a closure this week. We will be back next week, Monday, same time at 8:50, as I'll be giving you more details from the world of business. Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates.
Well, thank you for sticking with us. It is time for our traffic updates. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, we are starting right in Zambia, just around Arena Mall as you connect to that new bypass and also to that new flyover, I beg your pardon, and also as you come to the side of Ginger Road through Mukwano Road. From what I see here, it's all green zones across the board from Zambia, going through Zambia Road, then the Kampala flyover, but also now coming towards the side of Mukwano Road. I still see green zones over here. Continuing with the same, as we approach Mukwano Road, then we start to encounter a bit of traffic jam. Now, the yellow zones normally indicate that traffic jam is starting to build, and the red zones are usually indicative of a traffic jam that has already built in different sections of the road. Now, what you see on Mukwano Road, around where Press House Road connects to Mukwano Road, Press House Road brings you from the areas of Chibuli, and here we have intense traffic jam. As you can see, actually in some sections, I see that the traffic situation is intense. There is bumper to bumper kind of traffic jam up until when you reach that small roundabout which connects Mukwano Road to 8th Street, Access Road, 6th Street, and 7th and 8th Street. Here you will get a reprieve after getting through the roundabout. You will now have you will now experience smooth flow of traffic. Now, looking at these streets, 6th Street, I see that in some sections it has a bit of traffic jam, and now going to 8th Street, where Namuwongo Road transitions into that street, and then Bogo Road, we have smooth flow of traffic over here. Now, coming back to the Ginger Road roundabout, I see that Nile Avenue, after you have come from the traffic lights, I see that Nile Avenue has a bit of traffic jam around the roundabout that connects you to Yusufululi. And looking at other roads within this environment, I see that the Winton Street has free movement of traffic. And looking at Station Road, I see that there is free movement of traffic over here as well. But then Ginger Road itself, there is a bit of traffic jam that I see coming through on Ginger Road, but it is not intense. And then those coming through from First Street joining the Kampala Ginger Road Highway, here you're going to experience traffic jam up until you reach the Ginger Road roundabout. Now those using the old Portbell Road, there is free movement of traffic, and as you can see, First Street and Third Street are also looking pretty clear. Well, that does it for our traffic updates and the traffic updates for the week. I'll be back here on Monday to share the same. For now, enjoy and stick around, because Good Morning Uganda does continue. We have agenda coming up next with Robert Chirabo. Stick around.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by.
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sematia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, assigned Uganda Prison Service a task food and animal feeds. This was a directive of July 2020 to Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries to allocate land to Uganda Prison Service for food. The allocation totaled to 50,000 acres, in which 30,000 acres is maize grain, 10,000 acres soya beans, and 10,000 acres gum.
Areas allocated to Uganda Prison Service include Aswa in Pade district, northern part of Uganda.
This is Aswa farm, originally from Aswa ranch.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono. This morning, we are going to be looking at something very important. And what is that very important? It is water, because most of the times we grew up hearing a common saying, water is life. This body, you're dehydrated, you have no life. In a world where there is no water, also in urban areas, it is total disaster. You can just sense that water is gone in a particular area, in urban centers. Those that stay in apartments and flats, you know what the case is when water